All right, all right, all right, all right. How's everybody doing today? We got a good show for you today, and I thank you as always for joining me on Timber Talk, navigating the political force. And jumping right into it, we are going to get talking about the visa deposit. Now, imagine trying to come into the United States for a vacation or business meeting. I don't because I'm an American. I don't have to, but you might not be American. So before you get the green light to come into the United States, you have to put down a $15,000 bond just to issue your tourist visa. That's right. Effectively, starting on August 20th, 2025, a 1 year pilot kicks in play to basically stop people from overstaying. There is a $5,000 bond, $10,000 bond, and a $15,000 bond applicants are going to have to put in place that are deemed risky, even though they passed basic visa checks. And I think this is a pretty good idea. This isn't really bureaucracy so much gone rogue. It's more of enforcement of administration. If your country historically has high visa overstay rates or poor vetting, you may have to pony up $15,000, and that's some serious money. But at the end of the day, it's warranted. It's really warranted, and we'll get into this particular segment a little bit deeper, and I'll lay out some numbers for you guys so you can have a better understanding of what is going on. Think about how you book a rental deposit or a performance bond. You're accountable, so you pay up right at the get go and get it back when you leave. And that's the basic breakdown of what's going on. But if you break the rules, you don't get anything. Why shouldn't the same logic apply to this situation with immigrants? So these people come to our country, overstay their visa, and then disappear into the system. And we're supposed to just let them live here? Like that's okay or the cool thing to do? So, this is a smart targeted enforcement, not a blanket ban or border walls. It hands discretion to counselors, officers, case by case, essentially. They're not denying your visa or selling it to you. You're saying, hey, I'm going to give you this money as a show of good faith that I'm not going to come here and just hang out and overstay my time. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, and then I'm going to leave. And then you get your money back. That's pretty fair, right? It's like putting a deposit down on a refundable deposit down on something that you really want. The first two countries listed are Malawi and Zimbabwe, with the possibility of more added later, up to 15 days before the launch. This is going into effect. Bonds must be paid by way of U.S. Treasury bonds at pay.gov platform or using the I-352 form. So essentially, these people aren't just going to get to do what they want to do. And initially, it's only going to affect about 2,000 applicants, which is not a lot, but it's a testing ground to see how effective this is at deterring people from overstaying their visas in the United States. And I'm here for it. So, according to DHS, of the fiscal year of 2023, from October 1st, 2022 to September 30th, 2023, the B1 and B2 admissions by way of air and sea, basically these are your tourist visas that these people acquire, expected departures of 39 million people that held the B1 and B2 visas. It's both business and tourist visas, and a waiver program for visitors. Total overstays with those people in that fiscal year was about 565,000, roughly, give or take. That's 1.45% of the 39 million that were expected to leave. So if you imagine every year, 39 million people come into the country, 500,000 stay. 2 years, that's a million people. 4 years, 2 million people. 6 years, 3 million people. You get the gist of it, right? ultimately, these overstays contribute to a vast number of illegal immigration. And these people were allowed to do this year in and year out because nobody actually put up any barricades for that. So I'm excited to see how this program plays out and how it benefits the American people, because that's less stress on us. Why? Because it costs the American people roughly 150 billion, my apologies, every year for illegal immigration, and visa overstays turns into illegal immigration. So we would be getting something back and less cost to the actual taxpayer on this. If you're a legit traveler, get your money back, go home, have a good time. You can actually just store that money away for the next time you want to come back here. If you're not, you're going to lose it all. And you're probably going to get caught and get deported because ICE ain't playing. Neither is Trump. This is finally something that is America first. It really is. So quick recap of this is you got the pilot program that starts on the 20th of this month, August, and it runs 1 year for bonds ranging from $5,000 to $15,000. Zimbabwe and Malawi are the first affected countries, and it's probably going to expand very rapidly. I wouldn't see this plan lasting a whole year before they add 20, 30 countries to it. I'd be surprised if it didn't. The money is only refundable if you comply, and you must pay before you get to play. I'm here for it. If anybody's not here for that, then you're probably a criminal or a Democrat. I said what I said. In other news, we have this guy back in the news. I am so sick and tired of hearing about this man. I am so sick and tired of hearing about this man. This man is a nuisance. For any of you guys that don't know, this is Jack Smith, which is not his real name, but Jack Smith is the famed prosecutor, and he gets all of this people locked up and locked down. Yeah, so here's the latest on this little fellow right here. The U.S. Office of Special Counsel, OSC, is now investigating Jack Smith, the former special counsel who led the high-profile investigation against Donald Trump. Specifically, whether he broke the law is what they're looking into. And the law they're looking at is the Hatch Act. It's finally good to see someone doing something, but I'll get into that in a second. What's actually going on is the investigation was triggered by a Republican Senator, Tom Cotton, who alleges Smith intentionally timed actions like pushing for a rapid Trump trial to influencing the 2024 election outcome in favor of Biden and Harris. Oh, no, we're not allowed to talk about that. Whatever. The OSC can't file criminal charges. It can only recommend administrative sanctions or fines. And since Smith is no longer a federal employee, the worst outcome is like a dismissal. So it's a moot point. And therein lies the problem. There's no accountability for these people's actions. So you ask yourself, does this really matter? Or is it just political theater? It's zero accountability for them getting to do exactly what they want to do, when they want to do, how they want to do it. And they just get a brisk breeze on the back of their neck as they're told to not do it again. They don't even get a slap on the wrist. And conservatives, on the other hand, get demonized. They get jailed. Wasn't it Mr. Stone who was raided? This dude's 70 plus years old, sleep in his bed with his blind wife, knocked out in his apartment or house or townhouse or whatever he lived in. He's knocked out. And you got all these guys busting into your house with machine guns pointing in your face. The FBI raided this man's house, yanked him out of his bed. His wife crying, don't know what's going on. They're yelling, they're screaming. He's 70 years old, asleep, and you kick in his door like he's some terrorist. Where's the common sense in that? If we demanded consequences for every major federal scandal, irrespective of party, we'd be drowning in investigations. We'd be using most of the taxpayers' money for investigations, but I'm here for that. I'm here for the indictments. Yet when push comes to shove, many of these cases get let go. Why? It makes no sense. This is like a dog with no teeth. You get these probes going on, and the dog just locks on and making all this noise, but there's no blood. There's no recourse for the actions of these people, and the DOJ is just some glorified finger pointer, tattletale. Oh, we saw what you did. Yeah, you saw what I did, but did you fix it? What are we doing? This isn't justice. It's not justice. It's about optics and political theater. Republicans signaling they're doing something, even though nothing material is actually happening. And we know nothing is happening because look at what they're doing in Congress. How many bills have they passed? Like 15 so far? This time last year, Biden's administration had like 40 bills on the books. What are we doing? Neither the Democrats or Republicans are actually doing anything, but they're pointing fingers. Is this like some version of getting the Democrats back for what they did to Trump? Because if it is, you guys are failing at it. They had everybody convinced of what was going on with Trump being the truth. You guys can't even get Jack Smith. Like, look at this guy. You know what I'm saying? So here's a key summary for you. The OCS probed into Jack Smith's is real, but powerless. They can't prosecute anybody. And it's triggered by a GOP complaint. So basically, mommy, he hit me. Okay, cool. What's next? The bigger problem is the systemic injustice when political prosecution from the DOJ and their overreach and or selective enforcement goes ignored. Like there's nothing happening. And I'm sick and tired of nothing happening. They opened the file into Jack Smith, but nothing's going to happen. So what are we really doing? Besides wasting taxpayer money. I'm tired of taxpayer money being wasted. Anybody else? So, along these same lines, investigations to subpoenas. You get a subpoena, you get a subpoena, you get a subpoena. The investigation on this little thing here is it's not screwing around. This actually might have some teeth behind it. Comer's committee hit Barr on August 18th, Sessions on the 28th, and Mueller on the 2nd. Then schedules have Comey, Garland, Lynch, Holder, and Gonzalez testifying through early and mid-October. Bill Clinton's deposition is set for October 14th, and Hillary's on October 9th. Hillary always comes before Bill. This is crazy. So, look, is this real accountability when it comes to this? Because the subpoenas are for Epstein and everybody's involvement in the case against Epstein. Or is it political theater? Sure, the subpoenas are dramatic, but how many are going to actually go anywhere? You got a bunch of big names, but will they actually cooperate? Because we saw Hillary Clinton testify, but nothing ever came of it. And she was guilty as sin. Even if they do, what's the consequences? Like I said earlier in the other segment, this is a common occurrence in Washington, D.C. You get a subpoena, get an indictment, nothing happens. You wait on bated breath, waiting to exhale. Even conservatives are asking, does this matter? When the same committee won't touch the real corruption of lawfare from the DOJ, misuse of political persecution, the system is littered with actual documented abuse, from firing Trump prosecutors to weaponized investigations, but those go ignored. Yet here, as you can see, we get subpoenas galore. Everybody, you get one, you get one, you get one. I'm interested in seeing how this plays out. It's going to be some good TV. I don't know if you guys have ever seen any of those daytime TV shows, soap operas, The Days of Our Lives. I can hear it now. Doom, 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 doom. These are the days of Washington, D.C. So, Comer's oversight panel is demanding full DOJ records on Epstein and Maxwell by August 19th. You're not getting those. You're not getting those. Unless they are already federalized, you're not getting those. Major figures, including the Clintons, Comey, Mueller, and prior AGs, must testify this fall. But without enforcement or consequences, this may be more spectacle and fun. So get your popcorn and let's see how this goes. Let's see how this goes. Look, if any one of these people went down, I would be elated. I'd be over the moon, over the rainbow, over this. I would, because we the people want someone to pay, because we be paying all the time. You pay, I pay, we all pay taxes while they sit up at the ivory tower making money off of us, insider trading. We just can't win here. We just can't win here in this situation. And Trump is very limited in what he can and cannot do. So don't expect him to do very much. But what Trump can do is make task force, and he's doing pretty good at that. And he's saving babies because we love the kids, right? He's saving babies, but he's also pissing off Gavin Newsom out of California. You know, the governor of California, Nancy Pelosi's nephew. Yeah, he's pissed off about this. So Trump just signed an executive order to establish a White House task force aiming to make the 2028 Los Angeles Summer Olympics safe again. He's making the Olympics safe again. Oh, man. And basically wants to make this thing go over seamlessly and historically successful. It's been a while since the United States has actually had an Olympics here, so it's interesting to see how this will go down. And he's personally calling the shots here as the chair, and Vice President J.D. Vance is stepping in as vice chair to help coordinate everything from security to visas. Boy, back to those visas. Do you have your card on you? Swipe it? Not that kind of card, but I digress. This is American leadership in action. Trump is actually putting himself at the forefront and saying, hey, we need to make sure this goes off without a hitch, because this is going to bring a lot of money to the United States, and it's going to be good for the United States. But if it goes up in smoke or some activism or terrorism happens, guess what? The United States may never get another Olympics again. And I honestly believe, with the way things have been changing over the years, that's why we haven't had it. I know other countries got to get their turn, but nobody can do it like us. Well, maybe China, because they're very elaborate. In Japan, you know, it's Asians love fireworks and lots of pretty colors and stuff, but I digress. This is common sense, what Trump is doing. And Gavin Newsom is quite livid over this. He is very livid over this. Here's to the no-nonsense part. We all appreciate this. And this isn't just about games. It's about showing the world that America can host a massive top-tier event securely. Whether it's fast-tracking entry into the United States for the athletes, or the media, or preparing to deploy the National Guard, which, you know, good old Gavin Newsom doesn't want to really deploy them at any given time, to shut anything down if needed. Honestly, I think that it should be pulled out of California entirely, given the recent events that happened there, and it took weeks to shut that down. And the left and the Democrats say, oh, it's not as bad as it looked. Ah. Yeah, you're right. It's worse. This is not just fluff. Trump, every move he has been made to be successful in some way, shape, or form. Hosting the Olympics is not a bonanza. As it estimates it'll pump in $18 billion into the economy. And a lot of that's going to California. It's going to create 90,000 full-time jobs and bring in millions in tax revenue, because all these people have to pay our taxes. That's real opportunity for real Americans. Hotels, restaurants, transportation. They're all going to get a boost. That's good for families, entrepreneurs, and the whole country. And we got several more years to prepare for it. This is the first summer games in the U.S. since 2002. Like I said, it's been a long time. A long time. And this is an ideal moment to unite the country under something everybody can celebrate. Everybody loves sports, right? Trump is literally holding the medals from the iconic 1984 Olympics, turning nostalgia into momentum. He knows what he's doing, dude. If anything at all, Trump is one of the greatest showmen of all time. He's one of the greatest showmen of all time. And so this is a depiction of him signing the EO while holding the medal. Trump also used this moment to stress that the United States will protect women's sports. Oh, such a beautiful statement. No room for men to steal trophies from women at the 2028 games. He already made this statement. And I hosted another live where I stated that they already approved it. The Olympics committee already approved no men in women's sports. It's common sense, it's fairness, and this resonates with all women, real women, that is. And I don't know one single athlete that's a female that would be okay with a man competing. Why does all of this matter? I've kind of already covered it, but get excited, guys. It's something good happening here. We need something in our country that is not shock and awe. Our serotonin levels are peaked out constantly from all of the bad things that are constantly happening. Things going, shootings, bombings, and all this stuff. The new year started out with a bombing, and then another bombing, and then a shooting. Like, it's almost like we get serotonin dumps every other day. It's nice to actually have something that we can relax in. So hopefully we can host a good Olympics and keep it moving forward. In other news here, this one right here, this particular segment is mine. I love this. This is delicious. This is America First right here. American farmland. Senator Josh Hawley, and I look, a lot of people don't like that man. They say he's not doing enough, but he can't do everything by himself. He actually needs help from his other, colleagues to move. But this man is a pit bull when he finds out information. And he has introduced the Protecting Our Farmlands and Homes from China Act. And really, it doesn't need to just be China, but China's been the one that's buying up all of our land. Yeah. So this legislation was created in another state, and Holly saw it and he's like, I love this. Let's take it. Let's make it ours. Chinese corporations and individuals affiliated with China and the CCP have been buying land left and right. We saw that Arkansas and Missouri already kicked them out, and Missouri's suing the eye sockets off of China for, COVID. Yeah. So it's good to see that we are actually doing something. And honestly, let's take a step back. Why has this not always been a thing? Why has this not always? We have the emolument clause out of the Constitution that does not allow foreigners to basically give gifts to our legislators to basically buy them out so that they could, get things passed. And we can't have foreigners become presidents. Or really supposed to be in Congress at all, but they eke by somehow there. But why is it that foreigners can come buy our property? Wait a minute. The federal government, according to the Constitution, can't buy land, can't own land. They can lease it from the state, but if the government, our government can't own land, why should anyone from another country be able to own land? And this is not just stopping them from buying, it's also stopping them from leasing U.S. agricultural land and residential property. So a few podcast segments ago, we covered how they were using, it was agricultural terrorism, and they were creating things that would destroy crops, specifically China. And they caught 3 different people doing this, 2 of them at universities that were doing this. They were using agricultural terrorism, propagating something that would destroy crops in the United States, and we're letting them buy our land? This all happened under the Biden administration, where they were just buying up land left and right. And I think they were actually purchasing some under Trump too, but it was on such a tiny scale, it flew under the radar. So this is including 2-year renewable residential bans as well. And the president, every 2 years, is going to be able to reach out and check to make sure farmland is not being bought. So this is giving the president another tidbit of power. That's not actually listed in Article 2. This is a good thing. And this makes sense. Why? Because it's national security. We always complain about national security. Oh, we don't want TikTok to be in the country because it's a national security threat. Letting Asians from China buy land in the United States is a threat. These people are not Americans. They're not becoming assimilated to our country. They're Chinese nationals buying land and using it to do whatever they do. The concern overall is that the land is sovereign to the people, and it is. Our Constitution outlines that. So why is it that we're allowing our land to be given away? So basically, to give you a little bit more insight into how this works, if someone is found to have violated the ban, penalties are harsh and immediate. The fines are up to $100 per acre, which is not a lot, but it's $100 per acre per day for farmland, until basically they're going to bankrupt them out of owning the land, because they do have to do things legally, I guess you could say, but really it should be no legality behind that. It should just be law. Let's go and get an amendment that 28th Amendment, that no one can purchase land that's not an American citizen, an actual American citizen. And I would go as far as to say people that are, generational Americans. But that's a whole nother topic right there in itself. So they get $1,000 per day for residential property, that's quite a bit. And divestment must occur within 1 year of the law enactment. So anybody that is owning land still in other states have to divest. That's good. This is a good start. I think the penalties could be a little bit harsher, but whatever. So Congresswoman Mary Miller, a Republican from Illinois, they got Republicans out there, has introduced a House companion bill mirroring Holly's proposal with 12 co-sponsors. Backing it so far. This is coordinated effort between the Senate and the House to get something done. This isn't about right or left. This isn't about conservative or liberal. This isn't about red or blue. It's about protecting America and Americans. I don't want my kids to grow up in communist America, communist China America, because you've done let them buy up all of our land or poison all of our food. To keep strategic land out of the hands of hostile actors, this is a great move. This is not xenophobia. It's protecting the American farmers, families, and food. That's the bottom line. If you think anything different, you're stupid. Point blank, period. If you think it's okay to do what these people have been doing in our country, you're ignorant. Show me another country where an American can just go buy up a bunch of land in another country, and that country be like, hey, it's okay, keep doing it, we're all right. No, they're going to say something, especially if they're coming over here poisoning food. Common sense. Everything in this segment, this whole podcast series, is going to be common sense based. And to move on to something a little bit more lighthearted, and because we've been, punching you in the face, we're going to hit you with this Benjamin Button baby. An Ohio couple, Lindsay and Tim Pierce, welcomed a baby boy, Thaddeus Daniel Pierce, born from an embryo frozen over 30 years ago. His baby's 11,184 days old. Out the gate, setting a new world record for the oldest embryo. This is a 30-year-old baby. The baby was born 30 years old, resulting in life. Most of these things don't result in life. Most of them just flop. And I don't think they're going to beat this record by any stretch unless they duplicate the science that got them to this point. But can you imagine an embryo being frozen back in 1994? Long before the internet era, and here comes a healthy baby in 2025. It's called embryo adoption. Couples struggling with infertility can basically choose to adopt donated embryos that allow them to make babies. Basically, that's the gist of everything. Now, there are some ethical concerns that go into this, because you go through the whole thing of viability and all this other stuff. But when you get into the ethical concerns, especially with Christians and other religious aspects, it makes things really murky. So for families and clinics with pro-life mindsets, embryo adoption supports the belief that every embryo lives. And Linda Archard, the donor, chose to give her stored embryo a chance at life instead of letting them linger into limbo, ultimately giving Thaddeus, this baby that's 30 years old, the gift of a family. That's crazy, guys. That's crazy. Like that honestly gives you insight into, is cryostasis a possibility if you could do this with embryos? But this is a little lighthearted little thing that we drop in here after punching you in the face with other harder things. But let's get back to more harder things, because this story right here sent me over the edge. Texas Democrats fled their state. Everybody's probably heard about it already by now, but what is going on? What is going on? They fled their states and locked the doors on the GOP-backed redistricting. And the crazy thing about it is, this redistricting is not even the biggest part of what needs to be heard. There are 18 pieces of legislation that need to be heard. 18, and you're running? And they did this over 20 years ago. Don't get it twisted. The Democrats have done this multiple times. Over 50 lawmakers decamped to Illinois, New York, and Massachusetts, stalling all the votes for everything that was on the table. They broke quorum. These walkouts are nothing new, again, for Texas, because quorum rules forces 2/3 of the members to be present, making walkouts of a minority nuclear option. And it's basically their way of, like, filibustering, I guess you could call it. And today, politics isn't just dirty, it's survival, apparently, because these people don't want these districts to be changed. And they're on the news. Oh, it's racism. Oh, redlining. Oh, they're using all the buzzwords. They're using all of the buzzwords to get you in your feelings, because if they can make you feel something, they can keep you from seeing the truth. They're talking about protecting democracy. This is a constitutional republic. Hooked on phonics, y'all remember that? Constitutional republic, not democracy. I know you guys know that word so well. So well, but you're not doing your job. If you want to fight the redistricting, why don't you do it on the floor? You're a legislator, right? Do it on the floor. So who's funding this exodus? They raised a serious amount of money, set up the Lone Star Fund, and that's what it's called, to finance hotel rooms in blue states and cover fines. Governor Abbott didn't just stand by and say, oh, he sued to remove Gene Wu from office and got civil arrest warrants issued for the rest of them. And I don't know if he can legally or constitutionally, unless their state constitution says they can. I don't know if he can legally or constitutionally do this, but he says that he can. Not to mention the Texas Rangers are sniffing around the FDA bribery allegations. Ooh. This goes deep. This goes deep. So it's looking into deeper meaning and more national ramifications, because I think the states that they fled to should be on the hook as well. That's my opinion. This isn't just local theater. This is turning into international theater. because they're moving to other states, or not moving, but running to other states. And what's crazy is the states that they're running to have done this already. They redistrict all Republicans out of power completely in the state of Illinois. New York tried to do it, and they messed themselves up. Massachusetts did it, and that's how it flip-flopped. Thanks, Democrats in blue states, for helping other Democrat kind. At least y'all stick together on that. I wish y'all would stick together on actually helping the people like you say you do. John Cornyn even suggested that the FBI might intervene, telling us just how heated this is going to get. And one of my favorite things that I've seen on this particular topic is when they said that Donald Trump is the cause of this. Donald Trump is the cause of this. I was talking with a friend last night, and we were talking about how we would love to see how history rewrites this. And we're still old enough to be around and say that's not how it happened. Oh, man. I really hope that these states catch a case. Illinois, New York, and Massachusetts need to catch a case. Especially Massachusetts, guys. Especially Massachusetts. Because Massachusetts is out here doing all the wrong things. Not only are they harboring legislators from other states, they're calling people terrorists that aren't actually terrorists. When police trainings in Massachusetts lump moms of liberty into terrorist or hate groups, and these are everyday moms. These are not women that are equipped for war or anything like that. They're not one of those mothers from those other countries where they wear those towels on their heads and cover their face and strap under that little dress thing they wear and they go boom. Yeah, they're not those kind of moms. These are suburbia moms. Literally a group of everyday moms who stand up for the rights of their kids and the parental rights that they have. Side by side, have been aligned with Antifa in this police training in Massachusetts. And I don't normally do singular states, but Massachusetts seems to be getting too big for their britches. And this is not the first time that they've done things like this. They labeled AFR, which is American Family Radio, as a terrorist group as well. If your local PTA moms are fighting for curriculum transparency, gets branded as agitators, terrorists, or hate groups, something's wrong. I don't think these women know how to get angry. Not angry enough to do anything serious. Maybe just go to a school board meeting and yell at you. That's about it. She ain't trying to mess up her hairdo. But this is a reality check. It really is. The municipal police of Massachusetts has 20,000 officers reading this. 20,000 officers reading this. And you're calling these women terrorists. Literally. So, look, I pulled this from their website. Let's check this out. Let's see this right here. This is what they do. How we fight. We hold leaders accountable. We hold decision makers accountable, or we work to replace them with liberty-minded individuals. Spread awareness. Spread awarenesses and understand the limited role of government. Oh gosh, that's so horrible. They stand together against government overreach and intimidation. Oh my gosh. They're trying to blow up the White House, apparently. This is crazy. Somebody get these miscreants off the streets. They're promoting teaching the principles of liberty in homes and community. Oh my gosh. I thought we were free here. Liberty is freedom, right? They engage communities and elected leaders on key issues impacting families. You care about families? What? And they activate liberty-minded leaders to serve elected positions. Oh my gosh. Look at this woman with her evil look on her face. Isn't that a diabolical, hateful terrorist right there? You can see her whole face with her flower earrings. Look how her son's looking at her. Look at that Apple Watch on her wrist. My goodness. Oh my gosh. She's a terrorist. Massachusetts, what are you doing? Just because it's pro-America, pro-small government, pro-Christ, doesn't mean you get to label them a terrorist. But why does this matter? And this is the real world, not rhetorical. Kids are getting lost in sloppy woke indoctrination and inclusion theater. And parents are out here demanding transparency, and they're pushing back against inappropriate content. And police are being told that this is extremism, terrorism, and hateful. Hateful to who? These women just don't want their kids learning about filth. Bravo, moms. So hateful to who? To the everyday mom and dad who's out there, keep questioning, keep demanding clarity, and don't let the label shut you down. And this group was only started a few years ago. This is not even like a super old group, but they raised a lot of money real quick and grew very fast. They're in multiple states. If you loving your child's extremism, then call me the radical RoboCop. I'm out here dealing justice the right way, but according to them, I'm a terrorist as well. So it is what it is. We're gonna let that roll right on down the leg, like cities should do. They should roll down the leg. The DOJ under Pam Bondi just dropped the hammer on 35 sanctuary jurisdictions across the United States. This is about the only dang thing that Pam Bondi's done that I can actually say is good. Pam Bondi we won't go there. States include California, New York, Illinois, back in the news again, and big cities like Chicago, Boston, Seattle, and LA, saying they're literally risking the people's lives, putting Americans in danger. This isn't fear-mongering. I know I can hear now, you're just a fear-monger. Nah, I'm not fear-mongering. I'm telling the truth, my friend. This is basic knowledge. It's logical. If you refuse to cooperate with ICE, criminals can slip through your fingers, and they're out here building safe communities, harbors for these people. And I'm reminded of Pritzker just sitting there when being questioned by Congress about an illegal that shouldn't have been there, but it was safe harbored in Illinois, in a sanctuary state, was ran out of the state because he killed someone. And he left, and they had to chase him through several states just to catch this guy. But he was kicked out originally before. He wasn't allowed in the country. He was removed from the country, came back, found Illinois to be safe, comfy, and cozy. So why does this matter? Sanctuary policies don't just protect the innocent. They shield repeat offenders because they're not really protecting innocent anything. Let's be clear. If you need a sanctuary city, you broke a law. Whether you think that it's only a little tiny law, it's not murder. It's a law. It's illegal and unlawful to enter the United States the wrong way. So you broke a law. And you know you broke a law because you're seeking safe haven in one of these cities. Take New York. ICE put detainers on criminals. They were released anyway. ICE literally told them, hold these people until we get there. And they were let go. This isn't paranoia, it's accountability. You can call it what you want. I call it a good play. Bravo, Pam Bondi. You get an A+ for this. You're still failing, though. You're going to have to get those grades up. Because you're failing in all the right areas. This is a good one, but you're failing in all the rest of them. We need law and order back in this country, and I think under Donald Trump, they're doing that. I really do. I believe that in my heart of hearts that they're doing that. And changes are happening around the world, not just here. We have the NATO package. Now, I have mixed feelings about this. This is a mixed bag on this. But on August 4th, 2025, NATO's own boss, Mark Rutte, or Rutte, however he says it, it's not an American last name, so probably butchered it anyway, just gave a standing ovation to the first ever U.S. military equipment package for Ukraine, coordinated under NATO itself. This isn't just symbolic, it's strategic declaration. NATO has been told to step up their game. Trump has been saying that we've been doing too much for too long. And it's true. The Netherlands dropped a cool 500 million euros to buy U.S. weapons. Real gear. They did it. Bravo. Congratulations. And they did this for Ukraine by way of the slick new NATO plan called PURL. Prioritized Ukraine Requirements List. What a stupid acronym. I thought it when I was writing the notes. I was like, this is such a dumb acronym. But whatever. They can't all be like us and say things like MAGA, Make America Great Again. This covers Patriot missile systems and parts. The NATO's it's got NATO saying we've got Ukraine's back. But the problem with this is we're going to have to actually foot the bill in the long run. Now, NATO is finally walking the walk by putting their money up, increasing 2% from all the countries that are involved into pushing for more money putting out by them and less by the United States, but we're going to have to pay it back eventually. So this is not that great of a deal. Like I said, I had mixed feelings about this. While it is nice to see them doing something, it's more of like a temporary loan on the behalf. But initially, we in America aren't paying for this. So like banks take your money and use your money to make money, I think that's going to be the case. And we'll use the interest that we make off their money to pay them back with. But it's good to see that we're actually doing something besides being the whipping boy and Big Daddy Warbucks for everybody else. I'm here for that. I'm also here for this. More tariff curry. So on August 5th through the 6th, 2025, President Trump dropped the hammer. He likes dropping hammers. He slapped an additional 25% tariff on the Indian imports, citing India's continued purchase of Russian oil is not a good thing. So Trump has warned them a long time ago, hey, anyone that's really out here supporting Russia in their efforts of this war in any way, shape, or form, yeah, we're gonna put them tariff hands on you. And he's doing it. He's doing it. This means a jaw-dropping 50% total tariffs have been placed on India. This is one of the harshest tariffs dropped in the history of the United States. Trump leveled with the public. He came right out and said it, calling out India for fueling the war machine in Ukraine by buying Russian crude. He dismissed India's zero tariff offer on the U.S. goods as insufficient. Said, hey, you going to do 0% tariffs for us, but that's not good enough. We want you to stop doing this. Trump is using tariffs so effectively as a negotiating tool, and it really is it will go down in history as his strongest weapon. Before, it was the bravado. It was the New York swag. It was the in-your-face mentality. That ain't cutting it no more. This is cutting it. He's got a real weapon in his hands. So I'm here for it. But the only downside is we're kind of sort of supporting Ukraine still too, albeit arbitrarily, because some shaking and some bacon over here that's going on. We're still supporting them too. And like I said last week, it's America first and everybody else second. As long as there's a homeless person here, stop supporting homeless elsewhere. As long as there's dying people here, stop supporting dying people elsewhere. As long as there are lost traffic babies here, stop supporting lost traffic babies there. As long as there's homeless vets here, stop supporting military elsewhere. That is not America first. But I am glad he is standing on his word when it comes to this. And it will make for a betterment in the United States. India is trying to push back, of course. The new Dolly raised a ruckus, calling the tariff move unjustified. You know, when they're saying this is unjustified or uncalled for, they ain't really got much. They said it was unreasonable and even hypocritical. Nothing that the U.S. still trades in the LNG and uranium with Russia. Or knowing that that we're still trading with them in those areas. But I can see their point of view that it's hypocritical, but at the same time, you don't have the chips to really bargain. They claim imports with Russia are essential to keep the energy costs in check for 1.4 billion citizens. They got a lot of people and a lot of poop on the streets too. They poop everywhere. It's probably why they call them pooskins. But I digress. That was a crass joke. Here's the truth. Fair trade is earned, not demanded. When foreign policymakers and foreign movements and dignitaries are at stake, you got to do what you got to do, and Trump is doing it well. He is doing it well. He's using this as a weapon of mass destruction without actually harming anyone. He's just making people more compliant and making America less used. So, yeah, there's that. I'm here for that all day, every day. Bravo, Trump. Bravo, Trump. But this last segment, ooh, so gorgeous. One of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. Oklahoma. I'm reminded of that song we used to sing in chorus. I won't sing it, but I'm reminded of it. Good song. Oklahoma is firing on all cylinders. And they're rolling out a brand new America First certification test for teachers relocating from liberal states like California, New York, and Maine. No more letting woke indoctrinators slip into the classroom. And I also believe that even the teachers in your state should adhere to this. I'm just going to throw that out there. So what's actually going on is that the state superintendent, Ryan Walters, backed by PragerU, is demanding this test to ensure incoming teachers understand American history and the Constitution, common sense, and the biblical values that our country was founded on. And you can say what you want to say. America's not a Christian nation. Yes, it is. They read from Leviticus and Deuteronomy more than any other paperwork when they were drafting the Constitution of the United States. So let's go ahead and get that out there. This is a good thing. And why is it okay that we teach kids how to touch themselves and not teach kids about the Constitution, about America itself, about God? Say what you want. When we took God out of school, America started to go to hell in a handbasket. And when I say took out of school, they didn't actually remove anything. They just changed the way people could function. If we're moving to teach somewhere else, at least know that Oklahoma is probably not a state that you want to go to because they're standing on business. And we like that. We want professionals, not activists. You're supposed to teach, not educate. You're supposed to have these kids learn, not indoctrinate. You're protecting the kids from ideologies that reflect values that are aberrant towards what it is to be an American. It's crazy that some of these teachers are putting up Palestinian flags and LGBT flags in their classroom and taking down American flags. It's crazier still when a teacher says, oh, we don't need to stand for the pledges of allegiance. What? Some education board members are raising a concern over the fine print in this push for this testing. And they're saying that it's going to raise some legal issues around, the tests and its necessities. But I don't care. Legality is not law. And for too long, 10 years, y'all been breaking the law. It's nice to actually see some push for making America strong again. The fact of the matter that these kids don't know basic history, don't know the Constitution, don't know the preamble, don't know the national anthem. It's crazy to me. Here's the bottom line. Education should be made to rebuild greatness, not rebuild confusion. This is about safeguarding our children from trends that undermine the American exceptionalism. If you're being firm, it's considered extreme by the other side. But I like extreme if that's what it is. We're supposed to be teaching kids liberty so they grow up with freedom. Not teaching kids how to cut off their wing dang doodle or sew up their clam purse. Not teaching kids good touch, bad touch, predators. Not letting kids get lap dances from drag queens. Drag Queen Story Hour. So I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Anything that propels America to be more American and to be proud in its country and to know its history, all of it, non-revisionist versions, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So bravo to them. Bravo to Oklahoma for doing this. I think every state should follow suit and shove America down the throats of these liberals and activists until they crap out patriotism. Right? Right? I remember that app Snapchat having that little filter where you stick your tongue out and rainbows fall out of your mouth. I want red, white, and blue to fall out of my mouth. Spit that American fire. But I also like spitting the Bible verses because, you know, they come out liberally for me. That's the only thing I'm liberal with is the word of God. 2 Timothy 3, 1-5 says, "This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to the parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affections." Yeah, there's a lot of unnatural affections floating around there. "Truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, and despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than the things of God." They love the pleasures of this world more than they love God. "And these people have a form of godliness, but deny the power thereof. From such, turn away." Guys, thank you for navigating the forest with me. And make sure you are not one missing the forest for the trees. Have a good one.